Today on the channel, we're going to talk to Jeremy Asbrock from the Ace Frehley Band, also Gene Simmons Band, Rock and Roll Residency, John Corabi, you name it. So let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something special for you. I've got Jeremy Asbrock here. We're going to chat about Ace Frehley, Ace Frehley's band, his history in Nashville a little bit, and just have a cool conversation.
Yeah,
so,
let's do it.
All right.
And welcome to my home. I don't really do a lot of these in my home. I've done one other in my house, and that was audio only. So this is this is the second video interview I've done here. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
It gives me an excuse to clean my house.
I feel really special, man, and I appreciate you bringing me in here today, and it's cool to sit down and chat with you. You had a gig last night, I saw. So you did an Ace Frehley show?
I did 2 Ace Frehley songs and 2 Jellyfish songs. I could phone those Ace Frehley songs in, but man, those Jellyfish songs.
That's a little bit more complicated, right?
Holy moly. Yeah, it was a long night, but it's a show run by my friend Tyson Leslie. It's called Rare Hair. It's normally, a bunch of deep hair metal and stuff like that, but last night was a bit eclectic and all over the map. So I was the rock portion.
What Ace songs did you play?
I did 2000 Man and Rock Soldiers.
All right, cool.
Now, I've sang 2000 Man a zillion times, but I've never sang Rock Soldiers, and Rock Soldiers is like rap. It's like 80s rap. It was back in the summer of 83.
I never thought about it.
I could just see like 80s rappers, how they do the folded arms thing. And
so did you sell it when you said he's going to have to play without an ace in his deck?
I did it just like Ace does it live, because I don't know, it's kind of like running on autopilot. It's just like, what's the devil going to do? You got it. He's going to play without an ace in his deck.
Oh, man. I'm surprised that you didn't do like New York Groove.
Well, actually, the song selection was Tyson's. He just told me what to play.
That's cool. I wish I could have made it, but I had other obligations. I saw it last minute and I thought, but I knew we were going to get together today, so anyways. I could have just came here after the show and just crashed out, man. Have breakfast together.
I don't think you would have liked that this morning when my kids were raising hell.
How late were you out?
I got home around 1, and I had to get up and get everybody off to school. Oh, the life of a rock star.
That's right. It's funny, I just saw, I don't know if you're a Phil X guy, if you like Phil.
I like Phil X. I follow all of his stuff. I think he's great.
But he did a hilarious post the other day that talked about the rock and roll persona, and he got ready to go on this flyaway gig, and he got to the airport, and
I saw that one.
Right.
And it was canceled.
It was canceled, so he came home and he vacuumed, and he did a bunch of stuff, and dealt with the kids, and it's like.
And man, I love. I can relate to that so much.
So
that's why I like his stuff. I wish I had his spunk.
I know, man. It's like the dude hasn't changed.
He's got a lot of energy, and he's funny, and he's fucking really good, and love you, Phil.
He was here in Nashville a couple of months ago, and he played downtown with Billy Sheehan.
Yeah.
And I know Billy through friends, and I consider Billy a friend, but I see him once in a while, and I didn't know that he was going to play with Phil downtown. I think they were at Bon Jovi's, and I thought, man, I've never had a chance to see Phil play live, and it's funny how in Nashville so many people play, and there's so much stuff that goes on. If you're not paying attention, it's just everybody who's anybody comes through this town on like a daily, weekly basis.
Yeah, and man, I used to be a lot more tuned into that when the residency was a weekly thing, but man, anymore, I'm kind of like in this bubble now, and there's like a world going on out there that I don't know, I kind of don't see anymore. That's all right. I mean, that's just kind of what happens when you get absorbed into family life.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this a little bit before we rolled film. It's we've done this for decades, and it ages us. We're still young dudes, but we're getting up there, but we've done this for decades. We've dedicated our life to guitar and music. And do you feel like it gets to the point where when you're not playing music, it's not that you hate it, but it's one of the last things that you really want to do when you have time to yourself. It's like
I don't ever go see live shows when I'm home, like for pleasure. I mean, it's not that I don't want to, but it's also I don't really want to either.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Well,
and look around you. I mean, like I brought the amp out for our thing, but that's usually in the bedroom. And like, I mean, does it even look like a musician lives here?
Right. Looks like Family Guy.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, I mean, and when I go to the shows, I have a good time, but getting me out of the house and getting there, I'm just not motivated to do it because it's all I do. And I listen to podcasts, and I watch YouTube videos on car stuff and different things just because I have to eat a different food when I'm not constantly doing what we're doing.
I feel exactly the same.
But it inspires me to do what I do better because there's like this push and pull. But that's cool. I'm glad that,
it has been good though. Like, I was rehearsing with John Corabi last week and, we're learning a lot of his new album. And I played with him for 10 years ago. But that was like mostly like we did the entire Motley Crue record. And prior to doing that, we were just doing like, stuff from the Scream and Union and Motley, just a mix of his career. And man, I've played rhythm guitar for Ace for 7 years now. I don't get to play a lot of lead guitar in that show. I mean, he would do a shirt change or two every show, and when he'd do that, me and the band would just do something, and there was the outro to Hotter Than Hell, and I'd just take off and get to do my thing until he came back out. But other than that, man, I've just been playing chords and singing songs. Yeah. So like to be a lead guitar player again, and like, it was like 19 songs. So I would wake up in the morning and go over the 6 we were going to do that day. And then, we did 5 days in a row. And by the end of the week, man, I was really happy with where my playing was getting. And I was really liking playing again. I mean, I didn't hate playing, but, sometimes you feel bored or stuck,
Yeah, I know what you mean. How many years did you play with Ace?
7.
All right, so before we started filming, we talked a little bit about that gig and stuff I've done, stuff you've done, and I, on a smaller scale, I played with Slippery When Wet. I did this Bon Jovi thing for a decade, and I felt like after 10 years, I felt like I had learned, I'd almost become Richie Sambora.
Yeah.
Like the licks and just the style, that it took me a while to step out of that and figure out who I was again. You've always done a lot of stuff. I've seen you do a Beatles thing. And
the Residency was the show where I was just learning volume. Like just, we did that show weekly for 5 years, and I couldn't even take an educated guess on how many songs we learned and played.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
And it was not your standard cover band fare, man. I mean,
that was like live band karaoke type stuff, wasn't it? The Residency? Didn't you guys do that?
No, that wasn't us. I know Big Jim Slade was the band that did that.
Because I never saw Residency. They did that. I thought you guys did that.
No, we had we had the core band and then guest singers, and it was all, people who have, skin in the game playing music, and then we'd have, nationals and internationals come through and sit in with us. We had, some people from Deep Purple and Ryan Zander and
Alice Cooper,
etc.
Like that. Yeah.
But that was the show where I was learning so many songs and so many different styles of guitar playing, and yeah, man, all that stuff creeps in and gives you a nice deep well of licks. But then there's the other stuff like we were talking about earlier that's just like such a part of you that it's not like you're playing licks, it's just, we were talking about Ace because we both got into him at a really young age, and like those licks just kind of come out in your playing and you never even learned them.
Yeah.
They're just part of your subconscious.
Do you think when you played with Ace, so much, or doing a one specific gig for so long, did your style kind of adapt to that, and you had to find?
I don't think
did
so.
you find yourself getting out of that?
I don't think so, because I didn't really get the opportunity to let any of that into my playing, because I was playing rhythm guitar mostly.
I got you.
But like through watching him and stuff, if like as far as his personal technique, I've definitely got a lot of insight into what makes Ace sound like Ace, because I've watched his fingers for so many years, and how they fret and how he picks.
Well, let's dig into Ace a little bit, since we're obviously it's probably going to be the lion's share of what we talk about. But let me ask you a few things about that. As of filming this video, Ace has been gone now for it's been about a month and a half.
2 months.
2 months.
2.5 months almost.
Right. So I remember we all got the, as fans and the public got the notification he was not doing well. He'd fallen, and of course I only hear and see what you see in the media.
Yeah.
But it made me feel it was kind of a lot of radio silence. Made me kind of nervous, right?
Well, to be honest, it was radio silence here too. Like we all were informed of the accident because we were supposed to leave the next day to do a show, and after that, like, the family kind of shut down.
Yeah.
Or had communication with everyone shut down. So like, the band and the crew were as in the dark as everybody else. Which I think we all kind of read the same thing. It's like, all right, the silence is not good, because if everything was good, there'd be no silence. But it was just we could only speculate like everybody else.
Yeah. It's tragic for everybody. We lost our hero, one of our heroes, right? And it's too bad. I guess the family, when you're in a situation like that, you really don't know. You gotta be careful, of course, with the media, because everything goes crazy.
You want to hear something funny?
Right.
TMZ hit me up.
Really?
That's so wild. Like, TMZ? How the fuck did they get my number?
Did they before he passed? Were they trying to get information
it was right after he passed.
Okay. That's kind of cool, though, in a way. I mean,
yeah, no way.
The paparazzi, were they outside in your yard waiting for you, or did they call you? Text. I guess from the family perspective, if they really, they're hurting. They're hurting, and everything was uncertain. So you just got to
that was it.
You got to keep it down.
I did totally understand, especially now that I can see all of that in retrospect. That they didn't know what was going on. I mean, he was in a coma in the hospital, and they didn't know either. They were just living minute by minute also. So there is nothing to report. So it all makes sense to me, and I didn't take any of that personally.
Did you attend his funeral?
I did.
You did?
The wake service, the actual cemetery service, I was already booked to come home. But yes, I did go to the wake.
How many people were there? Would you say
60?
Pretty small.
65. Yeah, man, it was like former band members, some family, some local friends from up there, and the guys.
Now, who all was there from Ace's family?
I don't really know
he had a daughter,
a lot of his extended family, but his daughter and his wife were there.
All right. I thought him and his wife, didn't they separate?
Well, they've been separated, but they're still legally married. I couldn't even get into the details behind that because I don't know them.
Yeah, right.
And I never asked. It's none of my business.
Right. And we're not going to dig up any dirt. I mean, shit happens, right, between relationships.
Hey, man, everybody's got their own thing, and I am not here to fucking comment or anything.
Right, live and let live. So, 60 people there. That's...
It was really small. I mean, it was kind of smaller than my dad's funeral. It was definitely the most surreal heavy experience in my life. And to like elaborate on it, just could not begin to scratch the surface of how heavy and surreal it was. I mean, you know, I was a 4-year-old buying a Kiss record in my backyard and just fell in love with a band, and you know, the circle wound up completing, and to like close that chapter in that manner is such I don't know, man. I really can't explain how heavy that is.
But you know, as heavy as it was, I gotta say, I mean, you're very blessed to have, and you know this.
Yes.
You're very blessed to be in this position.
The amount of gratitude I have daily now to be able to look back on that and, you know, everything turn out like it did. It's crazy.
Growing up, listening to those Kiss records and the Ace Frehley records, would you have ever imagined if someone told you one day you're going to be playing guitar with this guy?
No. And I mean, like, even with Gene, like, if somebody would have told me that, I'm like, well, Gene's in Kiss. He doesn't have another band.
Right.
And then with Ace, it'd be like, well, but Ace is going to play the lead guitar. What am I going to do?
Right.
And then my third question would be, what do you mean my band's not going to make it?
I'm doing my own thing. Right. That blows me away because I've been an Ace Frehley was my first rock and roll hero.
Oh, me too.
I was 8 when I got his solo record. I'm a little older than you, so you know, but you know, that might have been one of your first records as well.
My first record was side 3 and 4 of Alive 2.
Okay.
And then after that, when we went to the store and actually purchased one, it was the first album.
I thought it was Kiss on the Ace Frehley record. It said Kiss on it.
Yeah, I know.
You know, and you don't know anything about the business when you're that old. Hell, you don't know anything about it sometimes until you're like our age. But I didn't know.
So you were 8. That was like, what, 79?
Yeah.
Okay, that was summer 79, man. That was when it happened for me.
Yeah. And I played to like snowblind with my mom's broom. I had this whole routine, you know. I had everything down. I loved Ace, and my mom was like, oh, you know, all the rumors about Kiss, about them being satanic and all this stuff. She was worried, but then she read a news article. She read up on it, and she came to me and she said, you know, the man who spits out the blood, those are things he puts in his mouth to make it. It's not really.
Duh.
Right. And she wanted me to know that he wasn't hurting himself. And my mom was the best, you know. But she supported me, but she wanted to make sure I knew a few things. And she said, I read an interview with them, and they're really nice men. And I like these guys. So she kind of gave me the blessing of Kiss, and it was...
You know, I had the opposite of that once. My mom was buying me Hit Parader when I was like 8, 9. I was in 3rd grade, and she read an interview with Motley Crue, and this is like Shout at the Devil era Motley Crue, and she's like, I am not buying you this magazine anymore.
Yeah, Motley Crue interview would be totally different than an interview with Gene.
It was so raunchy. Like, yeah, I would have made that call now that I'm a parent.
Well, if you ever read, like, well, I've read all the interviews. The Guitar for the Practicing Musician and Guitar World were my Bibles. Like, that's what I read the most. I didn't read a lot of Hit Parader and...
Oh, I did. A Circus, Hit Parader.
I like the pictures for my walls and stuff, but I did read a little bit. I read mostly guitar magazines, but they would even get a little bit racy in their interviews. Back in the 80s, they would talk about, you know, stuff. But Kiss always talked about, when you go to a Kiss show, you're going to feel like you really got your money's worth. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. But then Motley Crue was like,
booze, drugs, chicks.
Like, Tommy couldn't make it today because he took too much, you know, drugs last night. He's drunk, and some chick was whatever. You know, that's how their whole persona, which was cool too. Their persona was different than. It's almost like Kiss had the illusion of that. Like, you knew underneath all that there was the craziness, but Kiss always were businessmen.
Yeah. The
way that Gene and Paul presented it, of course, you're aware of that. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but so playing with Ace, let's get off the sadness. You know, I wanted to bring that right up front. Talk about the Ace passing and the funeral and because that was still on everyone's mind. I'm sure it is mine. But playing with Ace, you played mostly rhythm. But I can honestly say, when seeing you play live with Ace, you guys were the foundation. Ace was Ace.
Yeah.
Depending on when you saw Ace, I love him. All right. So Kiss fans out there, don't give me any grief in the comments. But depending on when you saw Ace, you may get great Ace, and you may get phone in Ace, or something that you didn't even expect. You really Space Ace, which we love all of that. But but you guys were really the foundation.
Well, man, when you saw us, that particular lineup, I mean, you're talking about 3 best friends who all became best friends because of Kiss and were friends before that experience, all getting to go on this amazing journey together. And, we cared about nuance in the songs. So, for the listener, every nuance that we're giving it to you. And, I don't know, we're just dialed in vocally.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
It was a beautiful thing. The 3 of us.
And you guys really were able to lift Ace up on this platform and just serve him and let him do. I feel like if I'm in a show playing and my band isn't doing, if they're not prepared or there's technical issues or all the above, I can't get into my own element. But you guys were firing on all cylinders. And I feel like Ace is kind of like that. Maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like if he has this comfort around him in the right band and the right setup,
I agree,
you set him
totally
up for success, he can deliver. And I think he struggled sometimes with his old band. Sometimes I don't think they delivered on the level. They were just sort of all. This sounds awful that I'm saying this, but sometimes it sounded like they were misfiring a lot, and there was a lot of disarray. And you guys really gave Ace a great platform to just do what he did best and not worry about any of the factors that could.
I can't comment on the other guys. I can only comment for Phil, Ryan, and myself. Like I said, that kind of goes back to our personal relationship being the root of the whole thing. So, we had a mind thing. We kind of didn't even have to think about who's going to sing what part. We already knew.
Yeah.
And, we're all singers. So, our harmonies were pretty fucking dialed in.
Right.
And, that's kind of what got us the job. I still remember the night in Melbourne, Australia, and we're doing 2000 Man. It's only our second show with Ace, and we come in with those harmonies on 2000 Man, and he just looked around at us and gave us one of these, because this is... and I knew, and then, Gene told me the next night, because we were still his band, he's like, Ace is going to ask you to do the cruise, because the Kiss cruise was coming up, and it's just like, well, how do you feel about that? It's just like, do it. Gene was largely responsible for us getting that gig,
right?
Because now that I can see the timeline, he knew he was going back to Kiss. He knew he was going to be gone for a bunch of years, and we wouldn't be doing anything, even though it was like, okay, when this Kiss thing wraps up, we're gonna.
He threw you guys a bone, man.
We're gonna do this again, and yeah, he liked us.
He looked out for you.
He saw that thing that you just said. We knew how to support Ace and not make it about us at any time. We showboat a little bit, but it's when it's Ace's time to fucking shine, you step back like AC/DC, and
well, you're still a rock band. You still are the band. You are the rock band.
You just got to know when
you got to showboat. You have
step
to
back,
right,
and when to be in the front. And that's just a judgment thing.
It's still the Ace Frehley show.
Yeah.
Right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you the supporting band for Ace and Gene simultaneously
in
Australia?
Yeah.
And because it was just probably made more economical sense to do it that way.
So,
and you guys were the best guys for the job.
We were originally just supposed to go to Australia with Gene, and then Ace got added, and then it got postponed from February until August of that year. And Ace asked Gene if he could use us, because yes, he wasn't able to afford to take his band to Australia, because that's extra hotel rooms, and we already have hotel rooms. And,
right.
We're already there. And then we went to Japan from Australia with Ace only. I've read that Gene was supposed to go too and didn't, but I never heard that at the time. So like I don't know how valid that is. That would have been fantastic.
How long did you play with Gene?
Almost 2 years.
Really?
Maybe a year, like a year and 3/4, just shy of 2.
Right. And you got with Gene because of playing the cruise ship, and he saw you, right?
Yeah,
it was like, I want you.
It was more like I can't. So yes, he saw. I was playing with Ryan in a group called the Big Rock Show, and it was like 80s metal jukebox. I guess I have to go back a little bit. Ryan was good friends with Doc, and when the first Kiss cruise was coming up, Doc asked Ryan if he wanted to bring his 80s metal cover band on the cruise. He's like, oh, fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But their guitar player at the time couldn't go, so they were looking for a guitar player, and through mutual friends, I was brought up, and then I met Ryan, and yeah, man, that fit like a glove. I didn't just join a new band; I got a new family.
But then, so
then we did that cruise, and then we did the next 5, and the next year that band didn't go, but Ryan had like this radio show thing he was doing with Rachel Boland from Skid Row, and they went, and he had lunch with Gene on that cruise, and Gene told him that he had, a few appearances at these Comic-Con type things called Wizard World, and they wanted to show, and he was putting out the vault. See my vault over there?
oh yeah, sweet.
And it was like kind of tied to support that, and I mean like, so we asked Ryan, and I was just kind of a shoe-in, because I'm already in Ryan's band, and we're best friends, and we fucking love Kiss, and I know every Kiss note. And then, Phil's our best friend too. And at first, Gene was just going to sing. And we were going to pass the bass around. And then luckily, good sense prevailed. And Gene played bass. And it's just like, well, we can't get rid of one of us. Let's just have fucking 3 guitar players. And
yeah.
we can do like the studio versions of songs. So if you do Christine 16, you don't lose a rhythm guitar. And you get the harmony solo. And it's like, the vocals are all there.
Yeah.
Boy, I remember reading a lot of shit in Kiss-related, message boards and stuff. Why do they need 3 guitars? Why do they need 3 guitars? Because Kiss only has 2 guitar players. It's just, first of all, you're not paying extra. Ticket price is the same. Right. It's not your problem. Second of all, like, I don't know, you get like the full spectrum. You don't have to lose anything.
People can be so weird about stuff
and
like
they
that.
bitched about that when that lineup took over for Ace. It's just like, yeah, but like, if you think about it, like, it in like a theater aspect, you got Ace in the middle, and then you've got stereo rhythm guitars.
Right.
And there's a bass rig on each side, so the whole thing is in stereo, versus if you did it the other way, the people on this side are getting like a shitload of bass and Ace's guitar. And maybe a little rhythm. The people in the back can probably hear some because of the PA, but like the first 10 rows are just hearing a loud bass mix and Ace.
It makes total sense to me. Like, I just think Kiss have, and I'm not part of the Kiss Army legitimately. I don't have a membership card, but I guess I am in the Kiss Army because I'm a huge fan. But I think Kiss have probably the most ravenous, protective, loving, and hateful.
Yeah, man. My 2 favorite bands, Van Halen and Kiss. Yeah, man. The fans are just like.
Right. Same here, Van Halen and Kiss. Right. You can't talk about Van Halen to this day without someone saying,
Dave, Sammy.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have to choose. I like both. But yeah, I get it from a musician's perspective. I used to play. I like playing in 3-piece bands because I like to be able to have the bass player just play, and I can just go Jimi Hendrix in major, minor, Mixolydian. I can just do whatever I want. But to fatten the sound up, I used to always run cabinets on one side, cabinets on the other, and go stereo and blend, digital and analog stuff together. That's a lot of gear. But when you can cover rhythm and cover harmony leads, and you got all those vocals, the fans are going to leave happy. They're going to say that's kick ass. So you gotta let the naysayers just say what they say.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
let the
you know,
music
like,
speak for itself.
the there was the guitar thing, but it was really about the vocals, man. Like, we're all like really into singing as much as like guitar parts and stuff. So having the three singers behind Ace,
I agree. I mean, that's one thing that I loved about it when I saw you guys at Marathon. So I love getting into the minutia of stuff, the small details. Did Gene come to you on the boat and say, "I want you guys to play with me"? Or
no, it was Ryan. He told Ryan to put together.
Or was it
a
all
band.
through people? Right. So when that crew, did you find out on the ship, or was it later?
I had to wait till he docked and he called me, and it was like my fucking eyes bugged out of my head. Like, what?
So, all right. So from that phone call to first rehearsal, how long was it? Did you rehearse?
We rehearsed once. Let's see.
And where was that? L.A., New York?
No, he
Nashville?
came here. November, December, January. 3 months.
Gene came to Nashville.
Yeah.
Where do you guys practice?
SIR.
SIR. Okay.
So the first gig was just. It was like this. It was a private event for this thing called YPO. It was a bunch of entrepreneurs, and it was like a thing for them. And he was a speaker at that. And we played the party the night before that, and we played a couple Kiss songs, but we really mainly played like Stax and Motown and just shit that Gene loved from his youth. And
so I've never looked at a Gene Simmons set list. Is it a lot? Is it like it's 50% Kiss and 50% like his favorite type of stuff?
No, that was just that show. And then the fact that happened broke the internet, and then a bunch of shows got added, and he's just like, all right, well, we're not going to do that next time. Just like, send me some songs you think we should do. And then, to me, it was like the perfect blend of kick-ass deep cuts and some famous shit you got to play for like, casual fans and wives and kids just getting into it and stuff. And I mean, Charisma, Gene's done that with his new band, and that's been like the one consistent deep cut. Thank you very much. That was me.
So
Almost Human, and I mean, just fucking cool stuff that the fans would love.
That's
and,
cool.
And man, those shows went really well among the fan base. Like they really dug into that. And there was a lot to like about that, because like prior to that, Ryan and Phil were just fucking Kiss fans like everybody else, and then she's not gonna like it.
If you're wondering what I'm doing,
it's my unfriendly cat.
He's got a cat that's about 16 pounds, and Tabby is beautiful, and it keeps smelling all my cables and stuff. And I'm trying to pick this cat up.
She ain't gonna have it. She doesn't like to be picked up.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I'm like, nope, sorry.
She's not mean. She's just like, no way, dude.
She smells my cats on the mic cables, and she's like, what the hell is this?
Anyway, so like, we were them. It was like the fans getting hired for the ultimate job, and like we did what they probably would have done. It's like, well, fuck, man, I'd really love to hear All the Way live. And
what was it like when you were at SIR and Gene showed up? Did he show up last and you guys were ready to go? Did he make his grand entrance, sunglasses and all, and leather coat and
he just walked in and like jokingly picked at us, just like, who's the girl? That was me. He goes to Ryan. He's like, you've got something in your nose, because he had a nose ring, and Phil had tattoos. You've got something on your arm. And then, he's just like, he likes to joke around, and he's busting balls, and I don't remember what the joke was, but I do remember the first time where I had to give it back, and I was scared to death. But, I gave it back, and he went, he likes to be one of the boys and crack up and joke around. So we didn't rehearse after that until the next year, and
so you guys just started playing, and that was pretty much
and then he'd go over stuff, and I mean, like, you can look at a lot of those clips from that year, and he's like fumbling a lot of lyrics and stuff and fucking up a lot. But the cool thing about that is man, he was game to try anything, and that was the spirit of the rock and roll residency, man. Like, we will attempt the impossible, and we're going to do it without rehearsal and maybe a run through at sound check. And I mean, like, the band could do that with Kiss stuff, man. Like, I could play you any Kiss song on command right now. But, Gene didn't listen to Kiss like I did.
Yeah,
like,
right.
especially that deep stuff. Like, they don't listen to that. It's like he hadn't heard that at that point in fucking, 40 years.
We forget about that kind of stuff where you immortalize yourself. Bands immortalize themselves with certain albums.
Yeah. So we worked out our system. Like,
And
I made these giant lyric sheets for him because, he didn't really want to pay for a teleprompter. I mean, then you'd have to hire a guy. I mean, I get it. It is a lot of work. Hey, we got to get the teleprompter. We got to get all of it loaded into the teleprompter. We got to get a guy to operate the teleprompter. And it's like, or I could just write lyric sheets, and you can watch the videos and see me fucking pull those lyric sheets out.
I love it.
After all the deep cuts. But, we got the lyrics right, and it made the band sound better, so whatever. But,
Did you
I
keep
definitely...
any of that stuff? Do you have like a vault of your own of like road stuff? Like,
No, I'll get rid of all that. I don't keep any
you
of this.
know,
I did have a lot of stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people that watch this have seen me and Ryan and Phil on the Kiss live auctions, and we sold a lot of that stuff to fans because I understand that. Like, that stuff means a lot to them, and man, there was a certain point where all of my memories supersede all of the stuff.
Right.
And my kids don't want to have to go through all that stuff. Like, what the fuck are they going to do with it? So I did them a favor, and I gave it to people who appreciate it. And
I've been dealing with that for the last 3 weeks. I've been going through stuff and just purging and getting. There's like.
It's a beautiful. You see those records right there?
Yeah.
There used to be like 3 more shelves like that, and then when I moved here, I was just like, I haven't listened to these records since my first son was born. I'm going to keep the important ones and get rid of the library.
Not to mention records are so damn heavy when you gotta move them, man.
And then, like, when my kids are gone, I'm going to be in my late 60s, and it's like, man, am I really going to want to get up every 15 minutes and flip the record over?
No.
No.
So in a nutshell, this is a huge question. We could do one interview on this. What's the biggest difference between working with Gene and Ace? What are some of the big differences? Gloves can come off.
I do not have time to answer that. It's easier to answer the question, what do they have in common? And it's one thing. They were both in Kiss. You could not find 2 more different people on this planet. And they somehow wound up in a band together and created this fucking iconic, world-changing thing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't begin to describe the differences, and I think at this point their personalities are well documented. It's easy,
right?
And I mean, like, most of the shit you read about these guys, it's true.
Well, that's what makes a successful band work. Is it's like a tire with different spokes, and you got to have different.
Yeah, man.
And it's that synergy and that lack of synergy and the tension and the similarities that make it.
And it's like, I know people are like Paul and Gene and Ace and Peter, but man, even those guys, they are all such different people.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 of them found a way to like work together for most of their lives, despite their differences. And I mean, like, they'll be the first to tell you they're as different as people can get. And sometimes those opposite chemistries can do the marathon together, and then sometimes they're only good for the sprint. Like, I see what they mean about all that, and the cool thing about like being able to work with Gene and Ace is I do see all sides, and I am able to see like when this side might be wrong about facts or whatever, or this side. I see all sides.
I've been in situations before where you're the hired gun and you're working with someone who's important. Where I'm going with this is, when you were working with Ace, did you always feel like an employee, or was that way for a while and then you felt like you were friends with him? Or did it go back and forth between, I'm friends with this guy but I'm still getting a paycheck, and there's always going to be this line. There's always going to be this line between us.
I did feel that way. There definitely was that divide. I always felt like an employee because I am. I am there for a job. I am there to do my best. I'm there to support the artist I play for, if it's Ace or fucking John Corabi, it doesn't matter. Whoever the artist is always gets 100,000% out of me. And Ace just happened to mean a lot because, you know, the effect that he had on my life from such an early age that, yeah, I guess it did mean a little more.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the easiest thing in the world for me as a player is to play fucking Kiss songs, especially with a guy from Kiss.
Right.
You know? But, yeah, I mean, I definitely took a lot of pride in what I did with him, and, you know.
But there was that line where it was like, when you guys were separated, when you weren't playing, you probably didn't really. Did you talk?
Sometimes, yeah, a little bit. You
Little
know,
time?
not a lot, but sometimes.
Yeah. Mostly business stuff, though, right?
No.
Just talk.
Yeah. No, there was a couple occasions where we didn't talk about any business at all. We just talked about, like, life stuff, which is another big difference between him and Gene. Gene and I had many conversations about many topics together. He was a good conversationalist, but, like, Gene ain't calling me to talk about anything life related.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had talked to Ace about, you know, like, just fucking, you know, small personal things or whatever.
Do you ever touch base with Gene before Ace passing or even after?
Yes.
Do you have any a relationship with him still?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, we don't talk. I will email him, happy birthday, Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
whatever. And, man, he always gets back within, like, 2 minutes. He's a fantastic message returner, you know?
Yeah.
I'll admit, I can be kind of bad sometimes.
Same here.
I'm not super quick, but, man,
He's got it together?
within 2 minutes, every single time. And, you know, I saw him at Ace's wake, and we talked for a while, and, you know, I messaged him after all that happened, because, I mean, like, I had that job because of Gene, mainly. I mean, I know there were other people around Ace, but I also know that it was largely Gene that was responsible for that.
How many Kiss cruises did you play?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8... Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8?
Wow.
8 or 9.
Did you get to know Paul?
No.
No? Was Paul just sort of doing his own thing? We'll just leave it at that? You didn't get to know Paul? Okay.
Paul didn't want to get to know me.
Yeah, he had better things to do. Were you on the Kiss cruise when Craig Gass said the ship hit an iceberg? Do you know that story?
I can't remember. Craig Gass is a very, very, very good friend of mine. We did a bunch of cruises together, and I can't remember.
One of my favorite. I listen to this like whenever I want to like just go down this Kiss thing. I listen to Craig Gass's stuff, and I always listen to his story where he talks about where he takes over the announcements in the morning, and she's like,
"Oh yeah,
it'd be really funny." He's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gene Simmons from Kiss. Unfortunately, we've hit an iceberg." But then he says there's like silver packages to get on the get on like a lifeboat.
I remember some of those.
Right, I think that's one of the funniest stories. So you're friends with Craig Gass?
Oh yeah,
dude, his Eddie Van Halen impersonation, his story with
his
Eddie.
story, yeah, it's fantastic. I've heard it at least 20 times.
I have to listen to it at least once every year, man. I love it. So we're gonna go into some strange territory here. In Nashville, the local resident, Vinnie Vincent. Thoughts on Vinnie?
Well,
do you know Vinnie?
I do not know Vinnie at all. I mean, we've got about as far as waving at each other at Gene's Vault event here because he was Gene's guest.
So you were at the vault? You were at the vault thing with Gene?
Yeah, we played acoustic for a while.
Oh, sweet.
When they were getting everything set up. My first concert was Kiss on the Creatures tour here. So, like, my first concert was Vinnie Vincent in Kiss in makeup.
Wow, that's awesome. My only times I've ever seen Kiss were with the original 4 people. I saw the 4 reunions. I saw the reunion tour '96. I saw Psycho Circus, and then I saw the final farewell tour, whatever it was called.
I actually missed the farewell tour. I was in the studio with the band I was in at the time.
It was at Starwood.
Yeah,
it was not great. Let me tell you.
That's what I heard.
And I don't know if it was Tommy playing, or if it was Eric Carr, or Singer. It was Singer. I always get I can't remember who bailed. I think Ace bailed out at the end of that tour. I don't think it was.
No, nobody. It was Peter because Eric did the Australia Japan run, and Peter make up with Ace in the band.
Okay. So Vinny, you waved at him.
Yeah. Look, I'm not a big Vinny fan. There's everybody likes to go on and on about what a great songwriter he is, but when I listen to the Invasion record, I don't hear it.
Right.
All the songs that people love so much have Gene and Paul as a co-writer, so I'm gonna guess that influence was in there somewhere. He didn't just bring these finished songs and his playing. I don't know, it just doesn't do anything for me. I know people that think it's the greatest. It's just not my cup of tea.
He kind of reminds me of Michelangelo Badio, some of that fusion-y, when they get in this atonal kind of stuff. It's almost.
It just sounds like somebody playing fast to me.
Yeah,
that's not a scale. It literally is just fast notes.
Yeah.
So and whatever, taste is subjective, and I don't care for it much. I think
classic rock guys.
I think the War Machine solo is pretty cool. Gene told me that I played that solo better than anybody he's played it with.
That's cool.
That is a secret that I just told.
Well, when he was with Kiss, they kept him in a box. They had to, because it wouldn't have been the same. Can you imagine if they would have let Vinny loose and said, "Just do your thing" on a Kiss record? It would have been, I don't know, weird.
Yeah, indeed.
Tommy Thayer. Tommy seems like a great guy.
Nicest guy in rock.
Yeah, man, Tommy. I
don't have a bad thing to say about him. I mean, I think he's been super nice to me every time I've met him. He's just got a great attitude, and look, we all would have taken that job. I would have taken that job, even in Ace's band.
Well, a lot of people don't. A lot of people do know this, but a lot of people don't. How long Tommy Thayer was with Kiss before he even got the gig? I mean, he's been in the Kiss family for decades, so I mean, if anybody deserved that gig, it was him.
Yeah, and I know a lot of fans out there that think that they should have had their own makeup or whatever, but that didn't work the first time. Why is that going to work the second time?
No, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense,
It doesn't make sense at all. And the fact that Tommy's been with Kiss for 25 years, the fact that people can't get over it, kind of kills me.
I don't know. It just doesn't matter to me. When I would go to a Kiss show, I just have a good time and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
And when I listen to Kiss, I listen to 74 through 78 records. That's my Kiss.
Did you see when they came through Nashville on the last tour?
Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, it's pretty neat to be,
It was a great show.
In at that point to where I can take my kids and give them real personal experience with it.
Yeah. Did you get to go? Did you meet them? Did you get to? Obviously. Okay, that's very nice.
Oh yeah. The first time they came, my oldest son was 4 at the time, and Gene really took care of us, and we got to see him right after he came off stage, and we took a family photo together. And he threw his fucking gross, sweaty, bloody towel on my head.
Oh, God. You should have saved it and sold
I
it,
did.
man.
I did.
Oh, did
I did. I told you. I sold all that shit to fans who care.
Yeah, it was a great show, man. I had to see it. It was magical.
And then when they came back, let's see, that was in 2023. Then my youngest son was 2023, right? Yeah, my youngest son was 3, and he knew Kiss Scooby Doo. He knew Kiss, and it just happened at the perfect time. And then I took my oldest son, who was 2023. He was 8 by then, and really understood the experience because we took him on a Kiss cruise. I don't know, and I took him to Gene shows, and Gene knew my son Rory, and Rory knew Gene, so for him to see that at 8, and he'll remember it, not being a little child who forgets it a year later. It blew his fucking mind.
What do you think are some of the biggest life and musical lessons you learned from playing with Ace and Gene? Because we all learn along this journey. You never stop learning. You never stop. Right when you think you know everything, you get more experience and you see a different perspective. But you know, it's a lot of years under your belt playing with
Yeah,
Ace.
man. I didn't really learn it playing from Gene, but from Gene, I learned about just being professional, not being a fuck up. You know, don't get too involved in drugs and alcohol. You know, I never did drugs. Drugs were never my thing.
Me
I
neither.
drank, but I've never been like a drinker.
Right.
And just fucking give 100% and do your best all the time. Ace, I learned tasty guitar, man. You know, I don't really have a lot of personality traits that are aligned with Ace, but like, you know, rock and roll, being the laid back cool guy in the band and not the one just saying clickbait headline type stuff. Yeah.
On that cruise where Justin Hawkins made a rude comment about Ace, was Ace really upset about that, or did Justin kind of made it like later on? He
was a little rubbed wrong. I was more upset because I was actually there.
Yeah.
I was the only one that was there, and man, I was really looking forward to their show. And they opened the show with the song I wanted to hear, and I was having a great time. And then he came out and did that, and it was like one of those fucking teen movies where the record scratches and the whole class looks at you.
Yeah.
And that happened. I'm surrounded by fans and friends and other band members, and they all looked at me. And I couldn't do anything but just walk out and leave.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand there.
Yeah.
And it was bullshit. It wasn't our fault. Somebody in KK Downing's crew broke their ankle, which put their show 20 minutes behind, and it put the whole day off.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, when you got all these bands lined up.
Ace was there on time. Ace was at sound check. You know, like, that just wasn't our fault. And, you know, I know Justin didn't know that, but, you know, that's why you don't fucking go off. And, man, I just always thought that, like, making an example out of somebody on stage is such a bullshit move. What a fucking bullshit way to get cheers out of the crowd. It's not you getting it. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking lame. You know, and, you know, great, he apologized, but, like, doing that in the first place, weak.
Yeah, I agree. He did a nice video follow up on it,
Yeah,
which was,
I know,
which
but,
was cool.
But you know what, dude?
We would have had.
I was the Ace Frehley band member out in the crowd. I'm the one that, like, got put in an awkward position and fucking stared at and made uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like fucking secondhand news to Ace. He's like, you know, and you know, everybody around Ace was more pissed. Although what's funny is like, you know, our crew are a bunch of big New York dudes. And Ace's security guards are like retired New York cops and shit. And everybody sounds like a New Yorker. And like, we had our TM, you know, this happened in the coffee shop. Dude's getting a coffee and, you know, our TM's a big guy. And a dude like that coming up and you're like, hey, have we got a problem?
Right.
You're thinking like, I'm about to get thrown off the boat. Fuck.
That's cool inside information. Very cool. Yeah, it sucked, but I wanted your take on that.
Yeah, it pissed me off. And, you know, honestly, I'm still a little mad about it.
All right, another controversial comment recently, and I'll give you my opinion on it. And I didn't really read into it very much, but Gene was in the headlines recently talking about Ace saying something of the nature of Ace's life choices led
I know.
Now I know Gene loves Ace. And I know Gene is very, very to
really
the point.
does.
He's very right. And I didn't read into it because I know how the media is. Let me tell you my perspective and you tell me what you think. I think that Gene was I think the timing was poor, obviously. And I think it was taken out of context a little bit. Now I didn't read Gene's apology either. I kind of push it aside, but I think Gene was collectively talking about Ace's entire life, because we know Ace has.
He did. I'm not going to nitpick certain things that he did say, which, like, no, dude. You know, when I said earlier, I'm like, I see both sides. And sometimes I can see when each side is wrong.
Yeah.
This could be one of those times. And I mean, like, look, there have been historically other things he said about Ace that just simply isn't true.
Yeah.
And it is not my position to comment on any of that because this is family business and it has fucking nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And,
you know, their baggage goes back longer than I've been alive. So I can't really comment or take a side on that, even though like personally I do, but just being in the position that I'm in, I can't.
I love that. I love what you just said. Their baggage goes back longer.
It does.
Than I've been alive.
They've been in a band longer than I've been alive, and their
like
baggage
bands.
started on day one.
That's true. Wow. Can you imagine being in a band that long? I mean, we've been in many, many bands and projects, and it's like the life expectancy of a band is usually like 6 years, like the Beatles. I mean, they were together longer than 6 years, but recording-wise, they gave us the strongest 6 years that any band ever has, ever done, ever will, in my opinion. But you burn hot, and it goes away.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Of course, they've had different lineups, and they've done this and that, but still, it's...
Man, but if you think about how much they did on that initial run, it's just like 2 records a year, 2 live albums, a greatest hits album, and 4 solo albums between 1974 and 1978. And a movie.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a lot of output.
Yeah. Well, they were young. They were inspired, motivated.
I mean, who puts out 2
and
studio albums
and they had a
year?
jetpack on them. Yeah. No, right.
It's crazy.
Right. That was the times, man.
Although, you know, the Beatles did the same thing, you know, like... And I suppose that was always the model.
You know what blows me away about the Beatles, and I say this every time I get in a conversation with someone about this same topic about the Beatles. If you watch the Peter Jackson Get Back, which I'm sure I've watched it so many times, and you look at the calendar, and they said, well, here's where we're going to start, and it has to be ending. Here's where we're going to end it. And I think, as a musician, I don't have any material.
Yeah.
I've got to get this. I got to somehow get my motivation, my inspiration, come up with this stuff. But we're going to do a concert and an album, and they did all that within such a short time. And then I found out later, they went into Abbey Road and started recording Abbey Road the next month.
Yeah.
The next month, well, and when you're watching that movie, you see Paul playing Maxwell Silverhammer,
and George is
and
working on
Octopus's
something,
Garden, and right. So they always had that. They always had that song, and then when Abbey Road was finished, then George released a triple album. Right, and then Paul moved
you know,
into
when
a
you're
solo album with himself.
When you're not touring, I guess you can like hang around and write songs, you know.
Right. You know, and they were in that position where they could just be creative. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like to wake up and have the ability to be like, George Martin, do you think you could get the LSO into the studio in a couple of weeks and put strings on make an arrangement for this song I'm working on?
Yeah, no problem, lads.
Right. At that point, you know, have you ever read the I don't know if you read any books, if you read at all. I don't
know how to read.
I don't. Oh, okay. Well, there's a book on the White Album. I think it's called Revolution.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the book.
It's a great book because they talk about how the British engineers and producers had to record a specific way through a manual.
Yeah.
And they couldn't
wear lab coats and shit.
Right, and they couldn't put microphones too close to certain things.
Jeff Emmerich's the one that kind of started breaking all those rules.
Yeah, and the Beatles were one of the first bands that they really allowed to do that. It was like, okay, well, you're now
even a lot of that they were just doing in secret, like, let's just fucking I don't know.
Yeah, I remember John saying, you know, he wanted the kick drum to sound a certain way, so they put the mic inside the drum.
Yeah.
And no one had ever done that before.
Or taking the speaker and wiring it backwards so that the speaker is a microphone, and they put that in front of the bass drum also.
I didn't hear about that.
Or like Revolution, where they're overloading the console for the
right.
You know, if
George Martin cutting up tape and throwing it in the air and then pasting it together for the benefit of Mr. Kite, all that psychedelic stuff, and I think in the day we live in, we're kind of getting off topic from Kiss, but that's fine. But in the day that we live in, with Pro Tools and digital editing, which has been around for a couple decades now, back in those days, even through the 90s, having necessity is the mother of invention, and not having too much at your fingertips. You have to create stuff. You have to come up with the tone on your amp, or that right room reverb, or the performance that's live. Now I love Pro Tools and technology, but
I do think recording is like a dead art form.
Yeah.
The art form is the actual music itself. So like it's a lot easier to just make the music. Whereas before, with all of that stuff, you would kind of get sometimes tied up in how to do that. Well, you don't have to worry about that now. You can just, and you've got that. So it's more about the content in your head coming out than it is the way you're getting it out. But of course, AI is going to fuck that up too. And
yeah. Don't get me on AI, man. That's crazy. But it's.
But I have thought about that because in the '90s I was like a young budding engineer. Like I had that Beatles recording sessions book, and like I just got into like recording and stuff, and bought like an 8-track tape machine, and man, I even made this Christmas medley once, and I did it just like Abbey Road. So I'd have to like record the whole piece, mix it, record the next piece, mix it, and there was like 6 songs on there. And then I would have to feed the first song into a stereo track, record it, and then I would feed the second song into 2 channels, and I would have to hit play at exactly the right moment.
Yeah.
6 times. So it really was, right. It was, the idea of side 2 of Abbey Road. It was just like that.
Right.
And that's how they had to do that. The trick is just like, okay, because when you press play on something, it's not like the response a computer gets,
Right. There's a lag.
And you've got to account for that, and you've got to do a million tries, and like, yes, that one's in the right spot. Okay.
Yeah, I did a lot of, I still do, but I did a lot of recording on analog tape, cassette, little mini discs. I've recorded my whole life, and you would probably attest to this and say it's true, but it makes you a better player too. You know how much your skills and your ability to record and hear sound and play guitar, all that adds to...
all that time I spent in the studio, even though I wound up being a live musician, was beneficial because, man, I really learned how to double track really good, and sing with myself, and like...
Listen back to how you sound and say, this has to be better. I have to do this. Yeah, it's really cool. All right, so before we wrap up this interview, let me ask you, what were your favorite Ace Frehley songs to play with Ace?
Detroit Rock City, because I got to play that harmony solo the other night. Sometimes that didn't go so good.
Right? I know.
It was never me! People. I don't want to play that fucking solo. Let's see, what else did I love? I love playing Shock Me because we did that little step thing after the first chorus every show, and that was always just a funny, lighthearted thing every night. Let me think about some of the stuff we didn't do a lot.
Well, let me rephrase this. What are your favorite Ace songs, like say off the 78, 79 solo record? What tracks resonate with you the most from his solo material, especially the first album? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, that's okay. I did love playing Hard Times because that was like one of my early tunes. I remember going to Sir Pizza in Murfreesboro after The Empire Strikes Back, and I Was Made for Loving You was still kind of the current single then because I don't think Unmasked was out at the time. And I remember putting Hard Times in the jukebox. I mean, shit, I was like, 5 maybe.
What about stuff like Rip It Out? And
I love Rip It Out. I mean, it just... We opened with that for a long time, and there's just something about the... And then you're in. It's so Ace, that song.
That was one song that I always sang with with my band to give my singer a break, and I always, it was great because I felt like Ace. I was like, I'm living my moment here. But I always got the middle part. The middle part, you got to pay attention where it does those punches.
Yeah.
You know, you can get it, but you gotta really feel that upbeat on that. Dun, 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 dun.
I love playing She because like me and the band got to sing this cool 3-part harmony, and then we did the studio version of the solo to where it's got the harmony over it. You know, he and I did that, and none of the other guys did that, so that was pretty cool. Another thing that I did with him that nobody else did was the outro harmony to Detroit Rock City. You know, most guys did the solo, but even Paul, nobody did that. And I really didn't feel like losing the chords behind that at that point in the song was a big deal. Like, the song didn't lose any energy, and Ace loved it, and he's like, do that again, you know. And I just kept doing it from that point. Anyway, she was one I fucking loved playing. And Deuce, man, those nights when he was nailing Deuce.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was one of those deals. I told you, you step back like AC/DC, and he's out there, like, just cranking that solo. And, you know, some nights, the spotlights, all you can see is a silhouette. So you see that stance, and when he's fucking on, it's like, there it is! It's right there, and it's right in front of me. Holy fuck!
So you feel like a band member and a fan at the same time.
Look, man, I will always be a fan, and yes, there were those nights when it's just like, I see it next to me, and it's just like, it's got that stance, and when I say it, I mean he. It's just like, but it in like this being that transcends Paul Frehley, this person. It's just like, man, there it is, right there. Like, I see it, I hear it, and it's a lot. It's right fucking there.
I love that. You know, you've immortalized this time frame. In the generation we live in, everything is videoed and filmed, and there's so much stuff with the internet obviously out there now. You are now immortalized in the Kiss family. You're in a Ace Frehley video. I mean,
and the fact that I'm in a video and I'm on the Origins Volume 2 record is like, I can't tell you what that means to me.
And all of the professionally shot stuff that's going to be around forever. It's never going to go away. Your kids are going to see it, and one day, I know they're young, but one day they're going to be like, whether you're an old man or you're gone, they're going to be like, that is some cool shit.
Yeah.
It's got to feel great.
I think my oldest is understanding a little bit about how cool it is, especially when we go out and, like, you know, I'm not fucking famous or anything, but, you know, there are
are to a degree,
situations
man.
I'm in where people recognize me. And even in Nashville, you know, outside of the Ace thing, I mean, you know, the Residency was a very successful show for a while, and, you know, a lot of people saw that, and, like, I was get recognized a lot. The fucking weirdest one, which is hilarious to me, is there's a media store in Nashville called McKay. Right. They sell used records, DVDs, blah, 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 blah. I worked there for 5 years. And I was in there last year, and a fan saw me and wanted to take a photo with me, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm in my former place of work, and a fan wants a fucking photo with me right now. Holy weird.
It's strange, you know. You're gonna get it forever, man. I know the feeling. I mean, I'm not famous, but having a YouTube channel and being out on the internet, I'll be at concerts and someone will come up to me and say, "Hey, you're Marty," or I'll just have someone say, "Hey, Marty," and I'm like, "What's up?" You know.
Or like those, just like, "Hey," and they're talking to you, and they walk off, and my kid's like, "Who's that?" Or my wife's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, I have no fucking idea.
Right. But it's cool.
And then there's like situations, you know, and I have to know the fan and trust the fan that, like, if my kids are with me and they want photos, you know, with my kids too, I do. There are some, but like I said, I kind of got to know who you are for that.
Yeah.
Read the situation.
Totally.
But my youngest couldn't possibly understand it yet. Yeah, he'll have to be a little bit older.
But dude, it's you have immortalized yourself in that.
Yeah,
in,
and I
that,
will,
in the Kiss genre, in the Kiss family, and
it's a
just,
trip.
It's
and
really
I mean, like,
cool.
I'm on 2 branches. Like, I'm on the family tree twice, and man, like, the odds of winning the lottery are better.
Yeah, it trips me out, man. It's and that's it's just so cool, and I'm glad that you are sharing this with us. I'd love to do a follow up interview at some point with you and talk about some more experiences. I know you said you're playing with Karabi, and you guys are going out on the road.
Yeah, we're going to
Next
Europe for about 2.5 weeks in February. He's got a new record coming out. I believe the new video came out yesterday. It's called New Day. It's really good, man. His new album is very Bob Seger, Creedence,
Sweet.
late 60s, early 70s type stuff, which is like really his taste. When I hear John's output for most of his career, I don't really hear what he likes musically. He finally nailed the thing
That's
that like
cool.
he's really into, and I'm honored to go out with a great bunch of guys. And
Well, I saw he posted it, and I gotta listen to it. I just saw that, so I mean, he's a friend of mine online, and I gotta check it out. I mean, I love his voice, and I've seen him in town a few times, so I'm so excited for you that you're doing that, and that's cool. And it looks like you're moving on to your next
sky's the limit.
chapters.
Yeah, and man, that's been a really heavy thing that I'm in right now. Is like there is no looking for the next thing. Like the next thing's happening,
Right.
whether you like it or not.
Right.
So yeah, it's exciting because I really, really feel in my heart that like wherever I like land permanently is going to be really cool.
It will be. With your resume and your experience and everything you've done and the hard work you've put in, it's part of life. The wheel's going to keep turning, man. And I certainly wish you the best of luck.
Thank you
and
very much.
I'm sorry about everything with Ace. We all should feel bad about that. We're all in this together, but especially you having your gig and your personal
I'm just
experiences with him.
beyond honored that I got to be so close with the guy who put the path down before me. That doesn't happen to everybody. Some people get wildly successful, and that didn't happen to them. They might have gotten successful, but like just the relationship and my place in his life became what it was. Is just I'm honored and grateful, I believe, is the understatement of the year.
Well, I really appreciate you doing this interview with me. Thanks for having me in your house.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And allow me to take up a couple hours of your time. And anyway, let's stay in touch. Let's do this again.
Yeah, man.
And for all of you watching out there, thanks for tuning in today. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, comment below. And as always, have a great day. Peace out.
See you later.